Good evening, everyone. Welcome this Sunday evening and joining me for my candid conversations. Today is the first one in the hospitality education series, and it's been named Restoring Faith. I couldn't have asked for a better panelist to have commenced this session with me today. We have Ma'am Annabelle Rodrigues, Ma'am Dopati Banerjee, and Mr. Bhuvan GM. Just a quick few questions, a few points for those of you who are raising your hands. There's a Q&A section. It's been restricted for the view only of the panelists. If you have any questions, please put them on. And in case you have any questions, please do feel free to put them on. I will take them up at an appropriate time. Thank you. With this, I want to begin this session by introducing my panelists. Ma'am Annabelle Rodrigues. She's the HOD of Don Bosco Hospitality Studies at Kurla, Mumbai. An alumnus of IHM Mumbai with a post-diploma and a graduate in sociology and psychology, Ma'am Annabelle has been my teacher who taught me many, many years ago. Just a second. Many, many years ago. She, along with another teacher of mine, Ma'am Michelle, sorry about that, Ma'am Michelle, were instrumental in shifting me in my career goal. Like all, I wanted to become a chef, and both of them were instrumental because they were teaching food and beverage service. It used to be called restaurant and counter service at that time. I have very, very fond memories of Ma'am Annabelle. This was in my second year, and she was taking a class on wine and cheese pairing. I remember that I was asked to present something. She loved what I had done in terms of my menu. She made me stand up in the class, in the practical class, and asked me to read out. I read it out. 5 times she asked me to read out. And for those of you who know Ma'am Annabelle, she came like this, very close to me and said, "My child, your menu is right, your pairing is good, but your pronunciations are atrocious." I couldn't fathom what she was talking about. I kept wondering what was it that I was doing wrong. And then she told me, "Satyan, it's not Chardonnay and Camembert." And in the right pronunciation, which I still haven't perfected, she told me it's Chardonnay and Camembert. Ma'am, I know I haven't perfected the accent still, but thank you so much. Even today, when I step out of my house wearing my formals and my leather shoes, I try to get the mirror finish on the tip of my shoes. Ma'am Annabelle is a very giving person for all of us who know her. She sincerely hopes and believes and that she wants to leave a legacy of students that embrace every opportunity and fulfill their potential beyond. Thank you so much, Ma'am Annabelle, for doing this. I know these are tough times for you and the others, especially with online classes. Thank you so much. My second panelist is Ma'am Dopati Banerjee. She's the HOD at the HAFT Sophia Polytechnic. She's been a top ranker all throughout her studies. She's a rank holder in every year in IHM Kolkata. She's a topper in all the 3 years, and I don't think anyone's broken that record as yet. I heard of Dopati in mid-90s when I was working at one of the, I would say, the nightclubs in South Bombay. And I had a colleague of mine who one evening came a little late to work. He was so thrilled. He got a whole mithai ka dabba and he said, "Gold medal, gold medal, gold medal." And I couldn't understand what he was talking about. So Prunes said, Dopati got a gold medal and he was just over the top. Well, we went through the evening. I'd never seen or heard of Dopati. Later on, I asked him, "Who is Dopati?" And he said, "She's my girlfriend. I'm going to marry her." I said, "Excellent." That night, I think I would have heard the song Binodini a minimum of a dozen times. After the first 2 times, Binodini changed to Dopati. and we had a fantastic evening. That's how I remember Dopati. Till I later met her at Sophia's. She's now doing a fantastic job leading Sophia's, the Haft course. She loves science and fiction. Creative person that she is, she's formally studied dance and music. And I don't think she could be a Bengali if she hadn't completed her degree in Rabindra Sangeet. Thank you, Dopati, for doing this, and a very, very warm welcome to you. Bhuvan sir, welcome. I'm sorry I'm not doing justice to you, your degrees, and all that you have. This presentation would have gone into a couple of more pages. So I've tried to do justice to you. The ever so eager to learn professional. He has multiple degrees. Very soft-spoken gentleman, but speaks a lot of sense. My fond memories of Bhuvan sir were in the late 90s when a very dear friend of mine from the hospitality industry, Arun Vishwanath, started at that time, something called the Trainers Forum of India. Today, it is the Trainers Forum of India and beyond. I met Bhuvan sir in one of those forums. Whilst he spoke little, he always spoke sense. And that's what I take back with me all these years. He's ever so learning, and with all these degrees that he has from here and from University of Cornell, he's currently pursuing his PhD in management. Thank you so much, all of you. He's the principal of the RPJ Institute of Hospitality in Navi Mumbai. With this short introduction, I'm going to request my panelists to put their mics on and their videos and say a quick hello to all our attendees so that they can put a face to your names.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Dopati, you need to come back on. All right, there she is.
Hi, Satyan.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Can we have your...
I think I have a little connectivity issue. I can't see the video also. So
Okay.
I can only hear you.
Okay, so whenever you can, we'll get you back. I hope, yeah, we can see you now.
Yeah, you're in, ma'am.
Okay.
You're in.
Okay, but I still can't see anybody. That's the problem.
It'll take a little relay difference in time for you, so not to worry.
Okay. Thank you so
great.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of you being here on this lovely Sunday evening. And the first thing that I want to ask each one of you is a very personal question. These are difficult times, we all know. Please tell me and our viewers, how are you coping with these times personally, with your family, with your students and your staff? Let's hear. Ma'am Annabelle, you want to start, please?
Yeah, so I have to say there are three very important things that have got me through these last 6 months. First, of course, is my faith. You know, when all this started, it was compounded by the fact that I had lost my sister and I had lost a dear friend in Chef Floyd. Those two back-to-back deaths were, you know, compounded this unprecedented situation that we found ourselves in. But my faith in God and the fact that He has been really kind and has sought all these wonderful guardian angels in my life that have come through to help me and to make sure that I was okay. And somehow this lockdown has been really an easy, you know, it has been fairly easy for me. I've learned to completely surrender to Him. I have to share this with Dopati ma'am because she knows Warner. We had an ex-student of ours from Haft who's become a priest. Yeah. And he was one of the first priests who started online masses. And I used to, you know, just because of my fervor for Warner, started listening to mass every day. And it seemed to be the anchor to get me through this entire time. It helped me to stay positive because at the end of the day, if the person who's leading you is not positive and not energized, then it's really hard for your team to follow and for your students to follow through. So I have to say, surrender to God, my faith, and every single day, my gratitude for every last thing that I have, every last thing that comes my way, whether it is a student, an opportunity, a teacher, the team, my life. There's always, and it's not just lip services, always gratitude. So that's kind of what has kept me going these last 6 months. Ma'am.
Am I audible? I hope I'm audible
Yes.
because I still cannot see.
Yeah,
Uh,
we can see you and we can hear you, Dopati.
Okay,
Carry on.
okay, so that's fine. I think this lockdown period has, in a way, been a gift to me from God, I would say, because sometime around July last year, my daughter had moved to another city, and I had become very lonely. I think Annabelle ma'am knows about it because I used to share it with her. Being on the board of studies, we had long discussions, sometimes even very personal. And so I was contemplating of going and seeing her sometime in the first week of April. And I think this was like a gift when she flew down on the 18th of March. And since then, of course, she's been busy with her online classes, seminars, and workshops. But this is some quality time that I have always longed for and never had with my family. My husband would always be busy, our offs would never match, and this is something that has really been a gift to me. So I have been personally rejuvenated by this break that I have got, and because it has been so enriching in my personal life, that I have been able to even pass on that positivity to my team. Anyway, I'm very blessed with a very positive team, and they are more of a family to me. I wouldn't say they are my colleagues because I think they are my family. So it makes such a difference, because any challenge that we have come across, I have always had my colleagues and my so-called extended family with me to stand and face the challenges. And it makes a difference because we do it from the heart, we do it with a passion, we don't look at it as a duty. So I think that professional front has also been very, very good, I would say. I know things have not been as it should have been. Ideally, we should have been in college at this hour, handling admissions and classes. We are worried about the curriculum. And of course, this whole change of classes from, where we would physically teach them with an eye contact has now become like an online class where when you are doing a presentation, you really don't have that eye contact, more so for the weaker students. But I think I have kind of struck a chord with the weaker ones. I have assured them that please message me after my lecture. So maybe it takes a little more of my time to counsel them sometimes, because some of them are going through a difficult phase. Maybe parents are not having a job, some have gone back to their native places, they are unable to come back, some have some health issues, and some of course are not really coping up with the poor network in their area as to how they should focus. So I think they keep on messaging me, and I try to get back to them. Of course, the phone has been very instrumental in the whole process. The phone and the laptop are like absolutely indispensable. But I think on the whole, it's a new way of life, and I'm quite enjoying this phase as well. While
Great.
I'm praying and I'm optimistic that okay, we will come out of it and one fine day we'll be back in college, but I am still taking this as a new change and enjoying every bit of it.
Great. Thank you, Dopati. I will cover on some of the points that you mentioned. They're a part of my
Yes,
session, but thank you so
yes.
much. Bhuvan sir, your quick thoughts on how you have been and how has it been for you and your family and your students and your staff?
Actually, I was in Bangalore sometime in the month of December, and that was the time people talked about Corona, and they said it has already kind of started off in China and it may come to India and things like that. And I never took it seriously. In fact, I was staying in a hotel and the GM told me you need to sanitize your hand, and he had kept a sanitizer outside. And I was thinking about those 2010 H1N1, those swine flu. And I thought this will also go away. So why people are getting panicked? There's nothing to worry. And I just never took it so seriously. And in the month of March, even till 14th March, I had gone with my parents to South Bombay and we had lovely dinner and all that. And then we were back to offices on 15th or 16th, and suddenly all this happened. So I always used to conduct a session on something called as the VUCA world. It's the VUCA life or the VUCA world. Those days when we were talking about VUCA, when I'm talking about before COVID, VUCA was always a world which is highly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So we were talking in terms of technology change, and it was a gradual change. Before COVID, things were very gradual. Change were happening, but it was not sudden. But suddenly post-COVID, it so happened that I remember my childhood days, we used to play a game, everybody used to get frozen. So same thing happened post-COVID. Our lives just came to standstill. It was a game of statue that the nature played with all of us, are still playing. And we have been under lockdown from March 16th, I guess, and till date, must be about 3.5 months. And our minds have become such that we are living in 850 square feet home. And we don't know whether it is Sunday or it is a weekend or a weekday. Unless somebody tells us today is Sunday, today is Sunday, so we need to be, it's a weekend. Otherwise, it's just every day we just take as it comes. And same thing, this kind of emotional, trauma, because human species are such that, we are social animals. We always wanted to be out. We are not human species where we can get confined to a small space and you say that, you live here, for next couple of months. If somebody had told me this in the month of March, probably I would have gone into deep depression. But now that we accepted this COVID and each day as it comes, we started connecting with our teams. That is the first thing that we did. In fact, in our company, there's a lot of initiative that came from corporate HR. So we started connecting with our teams. In fact, those days before COVID, I never used all these gadgets like, video conferencing and, all these virtual calling. But today it has become a way of life for us. And we started having Zoom meetings and Google Meet and GoToMeeting and started connecting with people, connecting with students, connecting with families, making phone calls, started talking to them and started talking to those people where we had lost connections, we had lost in touch. We started connecting with them. And that's how we started supporting each other in these times of crisis. And I'm sure that this is the crisis that will go away. Maybe a little more time is there, but it will definitely go away. But we need to be mentally very, very strong to handle this unprecedented times.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I want to start on a very optimistic note before I get into the spice part of this conversation. And so maybe this is the sugar part of it, if I may say so myself. All right. Each of you in your institutes have been doing events, annual events. Sophia has a fiesta with a dinner which is specially named and curated. Don Bosco has Spectrum each year, which is probably, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the largest for the last 10 years, doing 1,000 packs in an open air fine dining format. And RPJ Institute also has, dinners and events specific to each year with a theme. So please tell me, is there hope to have those this year towards the end of the year? Just a simple yes or a no. Ma'am Annabelle, you want to start?
Absolutely. I am convinced that disruption is necessary for new way of thinking. This has been an unwanted disruption. I'd like a disruption where it is a new technology or a new trend in food. But this pandemic has forced us to stop and think and try out new ways. There are new ways. One of the things that actually we did 2 years ago was called a drive-in. It was called Steer in Symphony, and it's amazing. We did it really because we had this beautiful space, and I long for the days of the drive-in, and that's how it came about. And now I watch, people in France and people in all different parts of the world are doing this right now. So there is a possibility for it to be done. We just have to think of new ways. Obviously, the numbers won't be the same, but I think events are an integral part of the way we take students out of their classrooms and apply what they have learned practically. And so it will happen. We just have to find innovative ways. And I know that we will.
Ma'am Dopati?
Yes, sir, I think what Ma'am Annabelle says is very, very true. That, of course, from the curriculum point of view, it becomes a necessity because it is an exam for the final year students of the hospitality studies. So it is a necessity. Maybe we'll need to cut down on the numbers because what we would initially cater to looks a little difficult, especially under the circumstances right now. And this supposedly new way of looking at everything that we are right now thinking, we will have to cut down the numbers, but events will be on. Maybe this will kind of bring about more creativity, like Ma'am Annabelle had done the drive-in. I remember it was a big, big hit. So probably we will have more creativity, and who can be more creative than our younger generation, the students? So I think events will happen, and anyway, we are looking at our events not, before November anyways. I think Don Bosco will be doing theirs in December. We will do it in Feb, and Bhuvan sir, I think, will also either Feb or maybe Jan or maybe March, any of these 3 months. So there is still time, and I'm hopeful that there will be a way out, and we will be able to come out stronger and do our events. It will happen.
Thank you. Bhuvan sir, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, definitely events has to happen. We can't stop, living life and, giving knowledge and skills to our students. But in my opinion, the format may change a bit. As Madam Dopati said, we don't have the luxury of large numbers to be invited. So we need to have a very small number for the event. And we have to maintain our entire protocol of social distancing and hygiene and sanitization. That is the most critical part as we resume colleges, as we resume institutes. Hotels have already put their SOPs in place. Educational institutions, we are to open completely. And this is a testing time for us. And all our housekeeping knowledge has to be put into practice now. A time has come, so that our students also have to put in complete focus on sanitization, hygiene, and social distancing. And with those precautions, I'm sure we can go ahead with the events.
Great. So thank you for the optimism. I am looking forward to all three. And with the sugar out of the box, let's get into some spice. Okay. I know these are extremely difficult times, and all of us, and we don't want to talk about COVID, and we've all heard and reading and all of that, but there's definitely a concern. And that's why the Restoring Faith in Hospitality Education series is what this is the first one on. There are students in each of your institutes who passed out technically or are going to pass out, the final year students. They're at a very precarious position right now. Nothing of their doing, but sadly, they are a part of that. Emotionally, it must be a big challenge for them and a huge disturbance for them. How are each of you handling them right now? In some form of counseling or what's happening from your side as a principal and as a college? Dopati, you want to start?
I think, I would say that, yes, I will fully agree with you. It is a very difficult time. More so because the students of the final year batch who had already sat for campus interview and have secured a job. They were given offer letters. They have accepted it in black and white. And yes, some hotels have staggered their joining dates, and some have said that they will revert back with the joining dates. And while a few have withdrawn their job offers as well, that has also happened. So yes, there is a lot of apprehension on part of the students. Some, of course, like I mean, they are also young adults, so some of them have handled it well, some haven't, and some are not opening up also. So when situations have come up, we believe in mentor system at Sophia. So every mentor takes under him or her certain number of mentorees. So a lot of mentoring is being done. I also intervene, uh, and I one thing that I tell them is, just now in the words of Mr. Ratan Tata, this year is not about how much we have gained, how much profit, how much loss. This year we have to take staying alive and healthy is a bonus. So when you start looking at life from that end, I think it changes your entire concept, and you don't look at it, okay, I don't have a job. You tell yourself that, okay, I am safe, I am at home, I don't want to venture out right now and get into more trouble by contracting a disease, or maybe being a carrier where you carry it back home, where you have older grandparents, old parents, and spreading it around. So yes, these are some of the ways in which we have been counseling them. It is a difficult time, and some of them have accepted, some are still in the process of coping up. There are some incidents where even parents have had to be involved, so that parents also sit down and talk to the children to explain, because sometimes only us intervening over a phone really does not yield good results. So it would be
Sure.
better if the parent is also taken into confidence. And luckily most of the parents feel the same way that we do, that this is just a time when we need to survive and stay healthy. And today or tomorrow our industry is very resilient. There will be need of young talent, and our students are well trained, and I'm confident that they will get good jobs in the future.
Right. Thank you,
So
Dopati.
yeah.
Ma'am Annabelle, may I request you to touch upon this? I'm sure all of you are doing the same thing, and the students are also going through similar thing. But I am keen to understand from an emotional imbalance perspective of the students. You've been a great counselor. You continue being one. You want to throw some light on that, ma'am, from your side?
So if you'll indulge me, this I sent out to my students. The students and me, we have this rapport with WhatsApp. We have groups that we keep sending messages to each other. And I sent these. I'm sorry, it's going to be a little long. My dear TYs, trust this finds you housebound, safe and well. Hope you are taking complete care of yourselves and your families. Every facet, physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and most importantly, using your common sense to combat this virus. Life is at a standstill now, but life flows, and a time will come when we will overcome this virus and life returns to some normalcy. So do know that there will be exams at some point, and no student will just be passed. So be prudent and keep your books up and reading. Also do know that the hotel industry will be the worst hit. Zero jobs availability. Hence, you have to be the brightest and the best. That can only be achieved if you keep up with your course material. So be smart, get ready. Life will go on. My prayers are with you. So the idea is I keep sending these messages to them. It's, we have 105 in the third year, 110 in the second. And to be able to get to each one of them, I rely on my fabulous A team, as I call them, to get through to all of them. And they have been doing a wonderful job to be able to handle all the students. But these kind of messages are what I keep sending to them because, unlike maybe ma'am and Bhuvan sir, my students also come from backgrounds that are really tough. And, there's sometimes no stability. And so it's really a little bit of a juggling act to be able to keep them together, keep the parents also engaged. But my one entire principle through this whole thing is, teachers love to teach. Students love to learn. And even though they might think that they don't, that's what they, thrive on. And so it's been my endeavor to constantly keep people engaged. And what is amazing is that through all of this, you have found amazing strengths in everybody. And I've absolutely been enthralled watching each one grow in this entire process. I'm sorry, Mr. Bhuvan, I took too long.
No, ma'am, thank you. This is what this is all about. Thank you for being so candid, and I just love it when you guys are absolutely natural. Bhuvan sir, all yours for this one now.
Yeah, with final year students, this is a batch of 2020. In fact, when I was a student, I used to read about Dr. Kalam's, biography and his vision. He used to say India is going to be a great developed country by 2020. That was the vision of Dr. Kalam, and I always used to look forward for this year 2020, thinking that we will definitely move to a different dimension. Yes, we have moved to a different dimension where we have started realizing a lot of things which we took it for granted. Even if for students also, they just took a lot of things for granted. These are the millennials. They for them everything was on platter, and everything they took for granted, and they thought life is going to be like this rosy and pampered life. Everything is going to come to me. That is how the millennials perceive life. But then this COVID has taught a lot of lessons to a lot of people, including students. So I tell students that this is the time for you to upgrade, upskill, and reskill, because what knowledge and skills that you have learned in college over 3 years is a very kind of a theoretical and little bit of practical that you went for your internship training for those 5 months that you have picked up certain skills. But intellectually you have not really kind of grown to that level. So this is the time to invest. So you invest for about 6 months or 8 months now, and upgrading yourself in terms of knowledge and skills. Don't worry about life. You have a career for next 40 years. In those 40 years, 6 months of taking a break like this doesn't matter at all in the long run. So this is the time to upgrade and upskill and be positive. And whenever the industry opens, then you are there with those skills. And there are some students who want to go for higher education, and if they can afford for something like that, and if the parents are ready to fund them, or banks are ready to fund them, they should explore for those options now, because this is a time for at least next 2 years. It should be kind of investment on higher education, maybe any course like the MSc Hospitality or an MBA program, maybe not abroad. I don't suggest them to go abroad at this stage, but in India also there are very good institutions that they are offering. So look at something, establishing your career now, because you are just 21 and you can still take chances till 23 or 24, and after that you have to work. So now it's a time to be safe and be with parents, and keep learning, and keep upgrading yourself. And today, because of the virtual information and availability of data, there's a lot of content available, a lot of free courses available. And we also have the MOOC courses, which is massive online and open courses like the Coursera or Udemy and all that. You can keep enrolling for these courses, and always look at a skill that is beyond your comfort zone. That is what I tell people. Don't look at something, only stick to hospitality or hotels. Diversify yourself a little bit, so that
Right, sir.
yeah, that is the most important point. So that when you diversify, you don't know what kind of jobs are going to come up after 3 years or 5 years. Hospitality, the dimension may change. So that is how students should look at in terms of upskilling themselves.
Sure. Thank you for your perspective, Bhuvan sir. So, the elephant in the room, let's address that. Okay. We've all been forced, the teachers and the students, to suddenly get into this forced e-learning and digitization way of the new way of learning, if I may say so, especially in India, in a country like ours. Not that it's not there, it's there, probably in business schools, but in specifically to hospitality related, where we have practicals and we have theory combined. It's a tremendous challenge. We all know that, both from a student's perspective as much as from a teacher's perspective. I'd like to know a little bit now about how your staff have actually been coping up with this new e-teaching methodology. And I'll come to the students part in the second half of this. Ma'am Dopati, you want to take this start on this? How have your staff
Sure.
coped?
See, I think I the UGC had already taken out a circular saying that online classes have to happen, followed by Mumbai University putting out a circular saying that 40% of the curriculum has to be covered online in an online mode. So I think sometime around mid-May, our principal called me up and she told me, Dopati, you just ask all the faculty to get ready and they will have to get all their matter absolutely done on PPTs, because now you cannot have overhead transparencies being shown or direct, talking and lecturing. It has to be a PPT, maybe some videos, and they will have to be ready for online classes. Till then, I don't think we've ever explored this avenue. And for some of us, it was like a new word. And of course, I remember some expressed their concern. They said, at home, there is zero connectivity. Then I will have to probably, go to my terrace to take the class, or probably I will have to, go out closer to the railway tracks. Some of them who stay close to the station side. So, and that's how everybody was thinking, and some wise ones of course began immediately,
Ma'am,
and eventually,
sorry,
yes,
ma'am, sorry.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
can you just throw some light on how your teachers are coping, your staff, your teaching
yeah,
staff?
okay,
On the students, I'm coming with a bigger, detailed, problematic question in the second part. But I really want to know how the
okay,
staff
the
is
faculty,
coping with teaching
okay.
with this new methodology.
Yes, so they basically had prepared PowerPoint presentations with some videos, and we began class with them on the 1st of July. And mostly we've had training on Microsoft Teams, and I think Annabelle ma'am is also using that for her college. And it's a very user friendly program, and it is very secure, very safe. Of course, we had a training with their team, but we needed a lot more input, which we have asked some of the tech savvy teachers in our group to go ahead to train us. And yes, there have been difficult points. I will not say that all of us were very comfortable. I mean, even today, when some of us are walking into a online class where we have to just, look at a screen which is showing a PowerPoint presentation, no eye to eye contact with our students. So I think we feel a little uncomfortable sometimes. Sometimes no feedback means, you don't realize, looking at their faces, we would know earlier whether they are understanding what is their feedback on that topic. You could throw a question. Of course, now also we throw question at them, but there are a lot of issues, technical snags, network issues. Sometimes the child cannot answer immediately by the time he unmutes himself and he tries to talk. So yes, it is a difficult situation, but I think with the right attitude and optimism, any obstacle can be overcome. And our teachers are struggling, but they are going to come out victorious in the end. They are putting in lots of effort, I know, to get their contents done, and they are basically going to constantly upgrade their information and their subject matter, so that this can be a very great learning on behalf of our students. So yes,
Sure.
there is a challenge, I understand what you're saying, but we are also leaving no stones unturned. So we are also constantly working towards it.
Sure. Thanks, Dopati ma'am. Bhuvan sir, similar thoughts or anything different than this uh, from your staff perspective?
Yeah, for us, we had an advantage because when we kind of got locked down, after 24th, even the hotels also went through a lockdown process. And our institute is also the learning center for park hotels. So we were forced to do training for the hotel teams. And immediately we got a call and said, from next week you start training all the teams. And then we had to schedule training. So that is how our faculties also got into learning the online training mode. We took the Zoom platform first to start with, and thanks to our team that we have a technocrat in our team, Mr. Sirish Bokde. So he's a tech savvy person, and he immediately trained the rest of the team. And within next 48 hours, everybody had trained. We had done some mock sessions, how to go about it, and then we started off. And I think now each one is an expert in his own domain, and they must have done so many training sessions now that as a company, we have covered about 5,300 participants already. Online training has already happened. So
Yeah.
it's all done by the faculty teams. So they all have coped up. So when the challenges were thrown at them, rather reacting to it, they were very proactive and they just handled it very well. And today we have sailed through these difficult times.
You are absolutely blessed to have Sirish sir with you guys. He's a rock star. He's always been ahead of his times,
Right.
right from the late 80s. So yes, thank you, Sirish sir, for everything. Ma'am Annabelle, I want to twist this question to you. I know the staff is having challenges all across, and I don't mean it in a
Right.
bad way. All of us are learning. It's a new learning for all of us. Uh, Students and the staff, how are they rapporting with this new change? And specifically, I want you to address the students' concerns. As Ma'am Dopati touched upon some of it, a lot of them may not have access to laptops or computers. Yes, smartphones they do, but I mean, how are you handling that, and how is it going with your college?
So, we have a different challenge because, not all of our students are going to have laptops and all of that. So they work on their phone and that's pretty much it. So, you know what, I honestly feel that everybody that does hospitality has a little bit of a performer in them. And so I know that that is there in every single member of my staff. And so what we did was we started by asking them to make a video. And so they made a video which was sent to all the students to basically let the students know this is how we were going to do it. And it was sent before the class, and then you'd conduct the class on Google Meet, and then they would follow up with emails and their assignments on emails. Thanks to the Bhati ma'am introducing me to Microsoft Teams, we then got trained on Microsoft Teams. Now the good thing about Microsoft Teams, and especially for my kind of students, is it takes very little space on your phone, and you're able to use your phone for the class. The staff, I'm not saying that they are without, teachers thrive on seeing the student's face. The students thrive on being in an environment where they see each other's faces, their classmates. You want to answer the question so that, better than somebody else, or while someone is answering, you want to be the one who chuckles in the back. All that they are missing. That is the nuances of really being a student and a teacher in that environment. However, I strongly believe that because we have had this time to simply stop, listen, review, and learn, that people are doing the best that they possibly can. One thing that I kind of did with my staff was, as soon as they started their classes, as soon as you finish the first person, put down all the problems that they had and all the advantages that they had. That kind of helped the others. And so for the first week, that's all we did. What went right, what went wrong, how can I help? And with the result, it's gotten to be where they are getting a little more adept at it. We also are able to go through that process. We started a while ago. We started at the end of May. So we've been at it now. It's almost like there's a timetable and it's just going with the flow. It's hard. It's different. Nothing compares to face to face. But I think, for most part, they have really stepped up. Everyone has stepped up. And again, I'll come back to it, because anybody who chooses hospitality has an inner performer in them. And what better than to have this? This is like you have your performance every single day. Only this time it's on a screen.
Lovely. Thank you, ma'am Annabelle. Thank you. That was wonderful. And I loved what you said. Bhuvan sir, I have a question for you. We'll go with you and then the other two ladies.
Right.
And I'm starting with you because you've been on as a chairman on various boards for curriculum and curricula. I'm asking you a straightforward question, you and the other panelists. Do you think that the hospitality education curriculum today in India, is it relevant?
See, there is no problem with the curriculum, right? See, curriculum actually, if you look at it, it covers basics to a large extent. So whether you look at food and beverage or housekeeping or food production or front office, a lot of basics are covered. What the curriculum misses out is on the trends, right? Emerging trends, new technological changes that happens. So those new things have to be supplemented. And that each college does that in their own way to supplement the curriculum. But just because the world is changing, we cannot leave out the basics. That is my opinion. Like, if you have to refer to the laurus, you have to refer to the laurus. If you have to refer to, lily crab, you have to go to the lily crab. So that basics will not change. So I never blame the curriculum as such. I know I have been doing research on this, through my PhD. A lot of industry input says, curriculum has to change, And this I'm hearing for the last 25 years. That means in the last 25 years, the ones who have graduated, there must have been misfits in the industry, but they have become the most successful people, right? So the curriculum has no problem. The problem is in how you understand the curriculum, get your right, foundation right, and then build on it. There are opportunities to build on it today. So as I mentioned a little while ago, that this is the time to upskill and reskill. So curriculum gives you a basic foundation. Over and that you go on building on it. Build the blocks, build the knowledge, build the skills, build your right attitude, build your perceptions and perspectives, so that nobody stops you. So I think curriculum is fine. Even if you're looking for a revision, it could be another 10, 15, 20% of revision, but you cannot change the entire curriculum just because the industry or somebody else says that. So that is my take on the curriculum.
Sure, brilliantly answered, sir. I have a counter on that, and I will take the other two panelists thereof. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way. The curriculum is fine. What I really want to know is the relevance of it in terms of today. The basics are great; they're fine, all of that. But in most of the hospitality industries or brands of hotels, restaurants across the world today, India and abroad, most of the CEOs are not from the hospitality school backgrounds. Most of them.
Right.
Okay, that leaves it challenging to say that do we need better, smarter sales and marketing related people, someone with a better business acumen or a better emotional equilibrium person? Could we have more specializations within the hospitality industry in these subjects of retail management, customer care, sales and marketing? Can that not be an option? Not today, but maybe in the coming days. Keep your basic curriculum of the hotel management for the first 3 years, but could we not have a dialogue, or could you guys think about, or unless you are, having a 4th year as a specialization? I know that there are so many, travel also, handling people is a very different skill altogether than just being a chef and a front office or something. Ma'am Dubadi, you want to start, and we'll go
Yes.
back to
See, what has happened is I think all three of us are on the same platform because we are running a 3-year BSc degree in hospitality studies. And as rightly put by Bhuvan sir, I think Annabelle ma'am will also agree, because all three of us have been members of the board. So we know that a certain amount of basic is absolutely essential, and you have to cover it with the students. And also, when we are doing a curriculum, we cannot only look at the colleges which are in Mumbai and its suburbs, because I think today there are about 45 colleges that come under the BSc in Hospitality Studies, affiliated to the University of Mumbai. And out of that, quite a few are in the suburb, I mean, in the remote areas of Maharashtra. I mean, you look at Kankavli, Dapoli, Ratnagiri. And some of those colleges are situated in a field, is, as in there are crops on either side, and suddenly in the center of the field there is a building. So if we are going to keep something which is going to be absolutely, like what you're saying, say something like retail management, or probably, of course, we do have a subject which is an optional subject of services marketing, because we do have in our curriculum specialization in the sixth semester, where the child can choose any two core subjects and one allied elective. But however, what happens is we cannot put something in the syllabus which will not be suitable for those colleges. When we look at a fourth year coming in, then we are not going to fit into the university system, which is 3 years of degree, because we are falling under the BSc degree. However, Bombay University has started a part-time master's program which some colleges are running, and that master's program is very enriched. If you go through that curriculum, it has some of the aspects which you want it to have. Things like casino management, maybe spa management, you talk about retail management. It has more of managerial or management subjects, and it is a very enriched program. It's a part-time program, specially aiming hospitality students, so that those of who are working can take it up and ideally finish in 3 years time. It's a 3-year part-time program, which is an MSc program in hotel and hospitality administration. So I wouldn't say that such a thing is not existing. It is existing, yes, but unfortunately it's a part of the master's program, which most students today are not aware of, and most of them want to either do an MBA or go abroad and train under cordon blanc or CIA, so they get distracted. But there is a master's program offering these kind of management subjects, which I
So,
feel those the students can avail of.
right. Thank you for enlightening me on that. I wasn't aware of the master's program, and
It is there.
yeah, and I really wish the powers that be in the Bombay University advertise and share this information more prominently, or at least put it
uh,
up elsewhere. Uh, it'll be great. Where can someone find information on this, Dopati?
you
It's
will
on
get
the
it on the
website.
website, you will get. And I think out of all the colleges, only Anjuman Islam is running it currently.
Okay.
There are 2-3 colleges who have got the affiliation for it, but right now only Anjuman Islam is running it.
Okay, thanks. Ma'am, Annabelle, in the same series, a different point
Yeah.
to you, and you can please add on to what both of them have said, but I want to specifically ask you, what about behavioral sciences? Why is that
Absolutely.
not being touched upon? Or is there some thought on that amongst you guys to bring it on? I think human to human is extremely important, and I don't find that, I find that missing in today's learning curve.
Absolutely. I just would like to say, I want to take the curriculum part of it
Please.
and give you an analogy on two sides. One is, uh, you know, there is laparoscopic surgery and there's robotic surgery, but a medical student has to learn anatomy, has to open a Gray's Anatomy. And I come from a generation of 4 generations of doctors. So I know that even my great grandfather must have opened the same book. But in the same situation, it's hotel management. You have to have your basics. You know, what really irks me to an extent is you meet industry people and they'll say, oh, you know, it's not relevant, like Mr. Bhuvan said. They say it's not relevant. But in the same token, every time you have a job placement, you know, you have industry coming in, the very first thing they say is, you know, they need to know their basics. So there's a kind of a disconnect. You want them the basics, but then you also think it's not relative. So somewhere there's a disconnect. But at the end of the day, if you do not have your foundation strong, no matter what it is, you're going to be, you're not going to understand the nuances of change, of trend, of new technology if you don't have your basics in place. The other part of it is, you know, while you are learning these new trends and all of that, the ability to take this and change it can only come if you are given the opportunity to apply it. And I think all three colleges that are represented today, APJ, HAFT, and Don Bosco, are continuously doing that. We give the kids the opportunity to really be creative, and whatever they read and learn, they are given a platform to be able to use all this new stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Honestly, how we are going to bring in behavioral sciences, I'll tell you what we do in Don Bosco. We have an in-house psychologist, we have 2 counselors, and we continuously have programs for the students. One of them in the first year, it's of course, you know, ability to handle stress, relationships, you know, just their, you know, the upheavals of being an adolescent and a young adult. Before they go in for their training, we do a workshop, which we used to call sexual awareness and sexual harassment. But now we just call it work preparedness, which is another thing that we train on. And when they get into their 3rd year, they're about to leave, it's preparedness for the world. Now, those kind of things can be an add-on, because I'm sure the party ma'am and Bhuvan sir will know, we really do not have enough of hours in the day to teach the students what we want to teach them and all that we want to do. So this is an added one, though it is absolutely necessary. Because at the end of the day, we can teach them all kinds of things. If they do not have the right attitude and the tenacity, they're not going far. If they are not able to read people, you are lost as a hospitality person. So yes, it's an integral part, but I think right now we are all creatively trying to transcend this and hand it to the students not in a very structural way, as in there wouldn't be a class that teaches the theory of it, but in the way we deal with the students.
Lovely. Thank you, all of you. Ma'am Annabelle, I will take you up on this on a one-to-one tete-a-tete, probably with some wine and cheese, and we'll have some detailed discussion. I still have my views on that separately.
Yes.
But I'm pausing here for a quick minute and taking a few questions. I want to thank Chef Zaver, Chef Aurora, and Mr. Barot for joining this session. Thank you all and welcome to the session. Delighted to have you all here as much as I am with all the other attendees. We have a question or a comment from Puneet. It says, it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of this webinar and hear the stalwarts of our industry. My question is, have any of the colleges engaged any of their alumni in providing motivational talks to their students?
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Bhuvan, you want to?
Yeah, what we do is we are doing webinars. In fact, we invite our alumni also part of the webinar, and we also invite the current students and prospective students. So that is where alumni share their journey with them and how they went through the course and how it has helped them and where they have reached. And those stories actually build a lot of motivation to the current students.
Yes, I was fortunate to be a part of that. I attended one of those sessions that you RPJ did at the beginning,
right,
of beginning of this. So I understand that. Thanks, Dopati ma'am. Something from your side, and then ma'am Annabelle to address
Yes,
Puneet's question.
Yes, we have a very good rapport with our alumni. And as and when we can fit in, we do have alumni coming over, giving talk to our students. They do demonstrations in the culinary or bakery for us. Also, as a rule, since the past few years, we have decided that for our annual event and the exhibition dinner, we have chief guests who are our alumni, because I think that is an extremely motivating factor for the current students, because they see themselves someday reaching that level of coming back as a chief guest. So since the past few years we've been doing that, and as of now also we are planning certain webinars where our ex students who are general managers, executive chefs, who will be coming over and talking to the students online. I mean, as under the current circumstances, we cannot have them visiting college, but we are definitely having that as one of the agendas. We will plan it out, we will stagger it in such a way that every 15-20 days, we have one alumni coming in to talk to our
Sure.
students. Okay,
Sure.
and usually we give them that little leeway where we let them select what they want to give to the students. Okay, and I think that is the best way, because then they know what the student is lacking. They were students at one point of time, so I think they decide and they do the talking. We will be there to moderate the entire process, but yes, it is on the agenda, and we've been doing it on and off, and it's been very successful.
Right, thank you. Ma'am Annabelle,
Yes.
I'm privy to all the wonderful stuff that you are leading, but
Yes.
for the benefit of the audience, please, all yours.
So for the present time, we've been doing webinars. We are on our fifth one. On Thursday, we are doing a webinar with all the ex-students. But our very first one, we had an ex-student who's now a food instructor, a culinary instructor for food hall. And so we've been able to get these students to come and motivate. We also have one on Saturday who's going to be doing a demonstration. But when we weren't online, every year for orientation for the first years, we always have ex-students who would come in and basically talk about their experience in college. We are a very nascent college. We've only been around since 2009. So our first batch graduated in 2012. I'm waiting for a day when I don't know whether I'll be alive to see my first GM, but I hope
Of
God
course, you
keeps
will
me
be.
around. Uh, but I do have of my previous batch when I taught in Sapphires. But from Don Bosco, the present students are so eager to come, and they actually, honestly, they called me up and said, "Ma'am, you're calling all these other people. We are right here." So I
Great.
have to say that it was generated from them.
Good. So thank you. I'm going to take liberty in putting Puneet under the bus. I will share his details with those of you who don't have, and please call him as a industry professional for not only motivational talks but on wonderful stuff that he's doing in the culinary world. Thank you, Puneet. Ma'am Annabelle, this is the next question specific to you. It says by Siddharth. Do you think, Ma'am Annabelle, this pandemic will change the structure of education in hospitality, especially F&B? We've addressed that, but you want to anything on specifically for F&B? You think you want to anything you want to add on to Siddharth's question?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the SOPs of taking right from the hostess, from entering into a restaurant to seating them, to the ability of setting a table, to the way you're going to take an order, the way you deliver the order, what is the SOP when you're clearing, everything is going to change. However, the main criteria of creating the ambience and creating a certain level of service is not going to change. The ability, whether you have a mask or not, you can still make eye contact. You can still be heard, so you will still acknowledge the guest. You will still take an order, you will repeat the order because you'll have it on your screen. The basics, again, I get back to it, your basics will stay. The SOPs have to change. I cannot be walking close to my guest. I cannot be handing him her menu. I cannot be handing him, the plate without having gloves on. It has to be something that has a cloth on it. We are going to have to change with one thing in mind, that you're not contaminating the plate. You're in complete sanitizing behavior. So obviously it's going to change, but the element has to stay the same. You have to rise above all these. I'll come back to after the terrorism attack. You had these atrocious looking things that were in front of every lobby. And to all of us who grew up with walking in with such flourish into the Taj, suddenly now you're accosted by this metal thing that you walk through and somebody's frisking you down. But you still have them wish you so politely. They thank you so nicely. That is still hospitality. So what happened is, initially we were kind of thrown off kilter. Now it's natural. So in the same token, it is going to change.
Yeah.
But you cannot get away from your integral sense of service.
Lovely. Thank you, ma'am Annabelle, for that piece of advice and sharing it in your own inimitable way. Bhuvan sir, you got a compliment from Rajiv Gandhi, who says great words of advice on one of the two comments that you passed on earlier. I'm moving on to a question which is open to any one of the panelists. Looking at the current situation, are you worried as to the number of students who would want a career now in hospitality, as this industry has been hit the worst at the moment? So this question is from Kainas, and I think very aptly put, because all three of you and many others are at the stage of getting in new students. So in short, are you worried that this will impact the number of students who want to join hospitality studies as a career? Mr. Bhuvan, you want to take this and start?
Yeah. After all this COVID thing, I got a little scared, actually, to be very frank. I thought, what will happen to our admissions? Will students apply? What will parents think? The industry is going through a turmoil, and all those fears were there. But the moment, in the month of May, June, July, we started seeing a surge in inquiries. So students started, applying for these courses. And what we started doing with them is, we were doing webinars and counseling with them. So there, what I learned interacting with students and some parents is that they are looking at a long term. See, this COVID has happened now. It may take a year or something. Vaccine may come and things will all come back to normal. But they are looking at something that they're going to graduate in 2023. And the inherent, passion, what we call in career development, the self-efficacy model, the ultimate urge to achieve something, that is there with students. So that passion cannot be taken away because of some virus. So that is there. And students are made up their mind when they're in the class 9th or 10th. They wanted to be a chef, or they wanted to get into hospitality. So it's not that they've done their research in 24 hours or 48 hours. They've been looking at it from last 2 to 3 years of time horizon. So now it's a time for them to look at a course. And there are students, they are definitely looking for hospitality as a career, and even an entrepreneurship. See, there are a lot of courses that is available in the universities, but this course actually gives you an opportunity to start something on your own. It could be, as small as, you can start a, micro entrepreneurship at home, or you can also become a solo entrepreneur. Even that option, this course.
Sure. So you feel that there is hope for the students, and obviously the hospitality education programs are the way ahead. Any thanks for that, Dopati and Ma'am Annabelle. Any thoughts in addition to what Sir said?
No, I completely concur with Mr. Bhuvan. Initially you're frightened and you're going, oh my goodness. But one thing I've realized, that the youth is amazing. Young kids are just amazing. They have the ability to stick to their guns. My first question to everybody when I interview them is, are you sure this is what you want to do? And it's amazing. There is steadfast. Each one of them will say, yes, it won't affect us. To be truly honest, I was not so worried about the admissions. My heart literally goes out to the ones who are graduating this year.
Yes.
It's them that I'm worried about. The ones who are joining us have this lifetime of 3 years. Life will come back to normal. It's just the ones who are graduating. I want them to empower themselves to find alternative paths till they are, they are ready to be taken back into the industry.
Lovely. Thank you, ma'am. I'm moving on to the next point which is a little absolutely relevant. We've slightly covered it, but I want to share this. This is from Mr. Barod from our industry. He says, besides students upgrading their skills and vertical upskilling themselves in this sabbatical pause, could we please ponder that students should not only look up to mainstream jobs in front office, F&B, etc. at hotels, but also in engineering, healthcare, spas, gyms, food cost control, trainers, nutritionists, EDP, and so on. Why get disheartened that the industry is not employing in mainstream? There is a constant demand in these, any skill one has, and this industry can accommodate a student. Best regards, Kamlesh Barod. So some wonderful piece of advice from Mr. Barod to you and your students. You please may share this. I will share this question with you all. But I know it's difficult, Mr. Barod. Most of us who, and I'm just taking the liberty to answer here, most of us aspire to join this industry for the front-end jobs of, chefs and front office managers and F&B leaders. But absolutely, changing times. And this is an option definitely for the students who are passing out. Thank you for sharing this. I'm moving on to a question from Chef Zaber. She says, is there a way where the disparity between other institutions can be bridged to get better students passing out? I did not realize there were 45 colleges under the Mumbai University. Our 3 panelists run exceptional colleges. So any thoughts on that? Ma'am Dopati, you want to start with that?
Yes. See, what happens is, being courses under the university, it leaves an open field for anybody who wishes to get affiliated to the university. Now, earlier, and I'm talking about, Mr. Bhuvan will agree with me, earlier the system was such that before an affiliation was given, an LIC would be sent, like an inspection committee, who would be going there and inspecting the infrastructure and all the other whereabouts, as in your water connection, your electricity, and whether it is your own land or blah, blah, whatever. So, but, and there were comment sections where you could write down your comment. Now, the current system is in such a way where it is just, do they have 2 classrooms? Now, technically, 2 classrooms can be 400 square feet. It can be 1,000 square feet each or 400 square feet each. I mean, there is no opportunity for the LIC to kind of elaborate over there, because the format is such, you have to write, yes, there are 2 classrooms. Where do you write that these classrooms are not enough to accommodate even 1 division, which is 60 students? You understand? So therefore, what happens is, and unfortunately, some of these, colleges which are not really up to the mark, they have a lot of political backing and a lot of backing of certain business people, where it becomes very easy to get their way out and get the affiliation, which is not in our hand as a board. So, and when we are a board, then obviously we cannot alienate them, because they are very much a part of our system. Yes, at the most, when they have their final exams, we send examiners from here. But beyond that, there is really very little for us to do. So it becomes an impossible task to upgrade all of them. I mean, it's all there in black and white, but it just doesn't happen. After the affiliation also, every year there are LICs which visit, but the format is pretty much the same. So it is just a tick which you have to put if technically there are two classrooms, because that
Sure.
doesn't give you the any space to write over there. I mean,
Right.
it's more of a quantitative analysis, not a qualitative analysis. So
Right.
that is the drawback in the system.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma'am Dapati.
Yeah.
Taking the next question for Mr. Bhuvan. Sir, this is for you because of the unique position that you are in of being with the Park Hotels and managing the training for them as well. So this is from a industry veteran who's also a speaker in my forthcoming chat is Mr. Sheldon. He's asking, do any of your colleges offer a specific course in facility management, and what's your view of this industry? Facility management in terms of integrated services, purely from a professional facility management perspective. Mr. Bhuvan, you can start with this.
Yeah, suddenly now facility management is becoming a sought after profession because of the demand of jobs that everyone wants, post COVID. Uh, Unfortunately, we do not have a subject called facility management, but we have housekeeping, which is a rooms divisions management, right from the first semester up to it goes up to the specialization if students can choose. And there are some girls and boys who choose housekeeping as a specialization. Actually, facility management is an extension of housekeeping. Once upon a time, we used to call it housekeeping, and today it's called in a much more glorified term. It's called the facility management, where you manage security and food and beverage and facilities, and mainly you go through the housekeeping process. So that is the fundamental thing. So even from hospitality background, people can diversify into facility management because they also have the knowledge of food and beverage and the supply chain and the other security. Don't have a course as facility management, but the
Right,
course
sir.
integrates housekeeping into the program. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to quickly take the next few comments that have come in. Learning and development, not only on hospitality, but in general to face the corporate world online, crucial. Uh, Learning and development online is very crucial. Is any work being done? So, Mr. Verma, this has been covered in the initial part by all the three panelists of how they're doing online for the student and their students. So I will kind of take the liberty to skip that. We have a question from Imran, who has the similar thing. What are you doing for motivation? We've addressed that, Mr. Imran. Mr. Bokde, you are saying that many students have options to work in travel and tourism and IATA related jobs. Debatable point at this stage, sir. I'll talk to you soon on that. But I'm moving. But valid. I think the hospitality industry is going to recover faster and better than the travel, in my opinion. But if any of the panelists have any thoughts on this, I'm happy to hear them. Should these students take jobs in travel and tourism or IATA related jobs? Anyone has any quick thoughts on that?
I don't think there are going to be jobs available to start off with. When you have an industry that is completely at a standstill or running at probably just 3% of what they really are doing, it's highly unlikely that there is going to be a job. You necessarily would take a job that is going to create a certain amount of income. You wouldn't look at something that is going to take a 3-year span to get back, as opposed to a hotel or a standalone restaurant that should be back to its game by the end of next year, if not by the same time next year. So, if there are jobs, let us know, because I don't think there are.
Thanks, ma'am, Annabelle. I want you to start with answering this next one. It's a query. We all are aware of these challenging times. Have any of the colleges been approached by hotel groups? I will not name them, but they are the bigger names of this world, with a roadmap of how they plan to support the new generation of talent that will be entering the industry. So have any of the colleges been approached by the bigger hotel groups with a roadmap of how, yeah, ma'am, Annabelle?
Yeah, let me make, the two big I guess the two pillars that have been around for a very long time, both Oberoi and Taj, were the first ones to speak to us directly. And I think that's also because we have a personal relationship with them. They were very cognizant of what is happening and how it's going to affect the students. And they assured us that obviously right now it's not possible, but they will not completely clear it off the decks. So as soon as they can, which would mean another 6 months down the line or 7 months down the line when things get back to normal, they will get back to the students, which was all we needed to hear. And they kept telling us, tell the students if they find something closer to their home so they do not have to travel, take it up. Upskill yourself, just like how Mr. Bhuvan said, take all the extra classes and courses, get yourself certified. But they did reach out to us, and right after that, it was every single hotel that we had called to the college for placements who had given our students job. It pretty much all of them said the same thing, please be patient with us. And I think we owe it to them, to handhold our students till they are ready to be reabsorbed when our industry gets back.
So, ma'am, Annabelle, on Mr. Barot's question, I seem to have missed asking your opinion on students moving on to the allied departments as a career option.
Yeah.
You have any thoughts on that? Any of your students are thinking of that?
I'm going to indulge you in another thing that I sent to them to start thinking.
Please.
It was, I'm sorry, I'm reading it out. I do hope all of you are safe along with this lockdown. I do hope you understand that you will all have to rethink your futures. The hospitality industry will take a year or so to come back. Every placement is questionable right now. So let's get creative and figure out how you are all going to be productive till the turnaround. A must in this time is to invest yourself, get yourself physically fit, emotionally strong, academically strong. One, look at the new job avenues, hospitals, MNCs, startup, health, food services. All of us, especially somebody like me who's putting on weight during this lockdown, I would love if there was a health service. Product development, this is the greatest time to be working on new sauces, new chutneys, new spices, and figuring out a way to create your brand. Curate meals around wellness, home chef services for elite parties. There is a section that you'd be able to have these parties for them. Home chefs, vegan and vegan food menus, because that is the next trend, which is already happening. Registries for bartending, food preparation, and food production houses. So the idea is I have a bunch of students that have already created their own YouTube channel, their own blogs, their own using their Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram handle. They've already started creating brands around themselves. It's only a question of now, how can I monetize my brand? Which is, they're going to learn a way to do it. So I hope, the idea is we offer these options. And I know that my third years, quite a few of the chefs have started already businesses. They've started, either selling a product or selling a series of products. A lot of them have started taking classes for the younger ones. So there is, they have already started thinking of options. And again, I come back to it, is my students don't have a choice. They don't have a choice they don't have the luxury to be complacent and wait to be taken care of. They have to start taking care of themselves. So,
thank you. Thank you, ma'am, Annabelle. And, I am delighted to have all three of you share your very, very candid thoughts in this conversation. I'm sorry if I had to rush a few questions and juggle between choosing whom to answer purely from the lack of time perspective. But I am convinced totally that the hospitality industry and the education of hospitality industry is going to continue. There's no doubt about that. Yes, I have a view and an opinion of mine that the digitalization and the human part is going to be continue to be a challenge. We have lots to do there. I still believe that behavioral sciences need to be touched upon in a larger way than we are right now, and what better time than now for all of us to think. I'd urge three of you, since you're on the board of the curriculum and everything, I'm sure you're doing it. You don't need my advice, but thank you for being here and doing this. I will catch up with all of you in the next few series that I have. And thank you so much, all the participants. I have one last question. I just want to see if I missed out something. Somebody's just popped in something. Just 1 second. Okay. All right, I'll read that. So, question to Mr. Bhuvan. As APJ Institute sets the benchmark by allowing foundation courses for IATA training and certification programs, how much likely is it for the doer to find themselves a job within the industry by the help of those needy organizations and agencies who deal with traveling and other support services? So that question is addressed to you, Mr. Bhuvan, and if you can, it's a little lengthy one, you can open up the Q&A. It's the last question in front of you.
All right. Yeah, we are an authorized training center for IATA, and we run a 6 months course on travel and tourism. This year admissions are slightly, kind of not surged. It is not even declined. It is very stable.
Yeah.
But IATA is a good quality option in the travel and tourism sector. Not in the travel agency or tour operator, but airlines are still operating, and air ticketing is happening, and the back-end operations of the airlines is on, and even other back-end logistics aspects are on. So they are looking for IATA qualified people. Otherwise, you can't work in those sectors. So still there is a demand for IATA people in those sectors. It need not be in the travel agency or tour operations, but at the back-end logistic support areas, there are options. And maybe after a couple of months' time, again, their industry, the travel and tourism, will revive back, and again there is a requirement of IATA professionals. So this is a good time to even invest for about 6 months and get qualified and get certified through IATA. So that is what yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. For those of you who are interested, there is a series of the hospitality professional services coming up in the next couple of days. I have the airport services plus the general manager of a 5-star property who's also housing the royalty in the same property, along with a service and facility management head discussing this. The next one is going to be on travel and on food service recovery. You can keep checking them out on the social media under my name, and for more news on that. With this, I want to thank my panelists, Ma'am Annabelle, Ma'am Dupati, and Bhuvan sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure is ours.
Thank you
so
for
much.
giving us an opportunity.
Thank
Yes.
you, and have a lovely evening, all of you, and thank you to my panelists and to everyone who's attended. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.